clean it up because
Wait
when we started,
for
there
no
was
more than
stuff piled
a
all the
gallon
way out.
of
You couldn't
milk,
even turn around into it, so.
gallon of milk,
But
one in each.
Yeah, we're trying to smooth it up and clean it up so that it's a little easier to go in and out, you know. 'Cause, but like everything, we just do it a little at a time and try to keep it.
Okay, folks, at 6 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Please join us in the pledge of allegiance. Ed, would you please, as I will.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This evening, our first agenda item is Jen Sis from the Stratford Regional Planning Commission, here to talk to us about the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. You can use this table here if you'd like to, for whatever it makes you.
either way, I'd just like to be able to take some notes if you
Oh,
gotta share
whatever.
some important things that I should take back.
All right.
So I was just gonna do this here really
Okay.
quick, and I'm gonna grab a couple of handouts. Some business cards. Just gonna pass these. Sure. And the other item I'll just leave with you here is just a copy of our annual report. You can leave that as well. So I'm just going to use that handout that's making its way around, just as the framework to give you a little bit of an overview. So my name is Jen Sis, Director at the Stratford Regional Planning Commission. I've been with the Planning Commission for the 6 years at the end of this month as the Director. So I'd like to start by just explaining a little bit of who we are. Our name is Stratford Regional Planning Commission, but we wear 3 different hats. First and foremost is that as a regional planning commission, as formulated under state statute. And in that realm, we do a lot of our environmental and land use planning program services. Our next hat is that of a metropolitan planning organization, or an MPO, which, you know, if I just say we're an MPO, it's not very meaningful. The MPO, it's a federal designation for a transportation area. So we work hand in hand with the communities, the State Department of Transportation, Federal Highways, and Federal Transit. And we are that federally required conduit by which we identify projects and plan for our transportation infrastructure. And then that feeds up through the state for federal funding. And then the third hat we wear is that of an economic development district. This is our most recent designation. It is another federal designation from the Economic Development Administration. And through that, we primarily focus on planning for the economic well-being of the area. And in that regard, we're thinking about what do communities need and want, and identifying different priority projects to help support that. And by doing that, we create a better channel for communities to access federal funding. So when we wear those 3 different hats, actually I'm going to stay on the first page for a second. When we wear those 3 different hats, we're governed by our commissioners. And our commissioners are appointed by you, the communities. And they direct all 3 of these program areas. Sometimes we'll have a meeting and we'll call it the MPO policy meeting. That is our commissioners plus a handful of other transportation constituents. That includes the Coast Bus Service, the UNH Wildcat Bus Service, folks from the Department of Transportation and Environmental Services that also kind of join the commissioners when we're meeting as the policy committee for transportation topics. But otherwise, we're either meeting to talk about regional planning functions, environment and land use, transportation, or economic development. And we always meet, the commissioners always meet the third Friday of the month at 9 a.m. at our office. And then we try to do quarterly field trips with our commissioners to see firsthand different projects and initiatives that are going on throughout the region, so we can highlight each of the communities and provide a greater chance for networking between each of the municipalities in the region. So with each of those designations, we have a few core requirements that we are mandated to perform. So under state statute, as that regional planning commission, we prepare a housing needs assessment and a regional comprehensive plan. Our regional comprehensive plan was last updated in 2015. Its title is Local Solutions for the Stratford Region. As an economic development district, we prepare a comprehensive economic development strategy. That is a 5-year plan for the region, and that we do an annual look at what has changed and where things might be going. And then the other piece is under our transportation programs, we prepare a long-range transportation plan. That long-range transportation plan is the mechanism by which we start identifying those infrastructure needs, and we're thinking 20 to 30 years out. We're trying to take and identify what those needs will be, and those projects that get pulled into that long-range transportation plan will ultimately feed into the state's 10-year plan for funding, and then what we call the Transportation Improvement Program, which is the 4 years from, that we are currently within, and those are the projects that are getting funded, they are moving forward. So I've also provided a little bit more information in your packet about some of our most current initiatives. Our regional housing needs assessment was just completed a year ago now. It still stays pretty pertinent, and unfortunately, not much has changed in the last year. We know that housing prices are still pretty high. We know that there are very few vacant either rental units available or units for sale, that demand is exceeding our supply. We also, throughout that housing needs assessment, have some projections of not only population growth over the future, but as a result, what would the demand for new housing be? And that's broken out at the municipal level. So there's a lot, it's a really rich document, data-rich document that outlines a lot of information about the current state of the economy and market. The other piece I already mentioned was that comprehensive economic development strategy. We're currently in the process of doing our annual update. We've reached out to different folks to submit projects to go into that, or to update projects that may already be in that document. So if you do have something ongoing, or you have any ideas, I'm happy to take those and make sure that we fold those into that comprehensive economic development strategy. I will say is we try and think broadly about what economic development is. It isn't just like Dover downtown. It is the Farm Museum, just down a couple towns over. They have a project in there for some work that they plan to do. So we really take a broader idea, a notion of what economic development is relative to the community. The other thing that we're really proud of is our data resources. In the last few years, we've really invested in generating a lot of materials and resources for municipalities. So much of it is available online. We have a whole series of just like standard PDF maps that you can just quickly download and print. We also have some interactive online maps, and we're also able to do like project-specific things. One of our favorites is, it's called Promoting Outdoor Play. It's an interactive web viewer, map-based, with over 350 different recreation sites in the region, where you can go in and you can browse the different locations and pull a little bit of information about each of the sites and locations. We're always looking to update that and keep it current and fresh. So it's something where if you see something, you got my card, reach out, shoot me an email. We'd love to, any corrections, we'd love to receive them and make sure we can get that updated. Another piece we publish every April is our data snapshot. I like to say, though, this is more a compendium of snapshots. It is a very hefty document, well printed, it's like that. But it's got one-pagers throughout that outlines key statistics on any different topic that you could imagine when you're thinking about the planning universe. Excuse me, I should have brought my water in with me. It's okay. Okay. Oh, are you sure?
Yep.
Is that open?
No.
All right. Oh my gosh, talking too much. I should pause and take some questions. But the data snapshot has quite a bit of information in it. Throughout the document itself, there are tables that will present like a larger big picture overview, but also present detailed tables that include every municipality. With that, we also produce individual municipal community profiles. So if you need a quick resource that outlines your demographic, socioeconomic information for your community, we have it quick and handy. It's the most current data. The reason we update every year in September is the Census Bureau has data releases in approximately November, December, so we run and process all of that and republish every April. So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do at Stratford Regional Planning Commission. The last page in here is just a little note on what we do with membership dues. I will note Brookfield is not been a dues paying community for like my 6 years there. I don't know before with Cynthia, but I like to make sure that communities know how their dues dollars are invested and what we do with those. I will say this year, 77% of our dues go to matching federal programs. The first and foremost is our federal transportation programs. Half of our dues go directly to our federal transportation programs. And those we are required to contribute, technically we're required to contribute 20% match. The state uses their toll credits to do 10% of the match, and so we use local dues for the other 10% match, and that is federally required to be contributed. So that's kind of the big picture of what we are and what we do. I would love to hear from you some of the things that you have going on here in Brookfield and how we can work with the community.
Okay. Let me start from the back on the dues side.
Mm-hmm.
We can have commissioners,
Correct.
and they vote, and we would have one vote because of our size of our town.
Only on the federally mandated transportation programs.
Then how does the commission determine what they're going to work on?
Right, so yeah, it's by and large, it's the dues paying communities that set the direction for the commission. A lot of the work that we do, we are sitting down with communities throughout the course of the year, having one-on-one conversations, either in person, by phone call, by emails, to understand what their priorities are. Communities will come to us and say, we'd like to work on X, Y, or Z. Can you fit this into your work program? And that's one of the things that we will do. When it comes to those bigger programs where we have automatic funding, such as our transportation programs and our economic development programs, it's really tailored to, we have certain things that we're required to do as a condition of that funding. For example, that long-range transportation plan, managing that 10-year plan and transportation improvement program, soliciting project. Those are things where they're federally mandated. So whether you're dues paying or not, we meet our federally mandated requirements. I will say, as a non-dues paying community, you would get only 1 vote, whereas Wakefield, which is a dues-paying community, gets 2 votes because they have 2 commissioners, or they can have 2 commissioners. One of them just recently stepped down, well, both of them recently stepped down, and they're in the process of reappointing. But
I guess that's
Yeah.
where I was coming from. In Dover might have many more commissioners.
they have 4.
So they get 4 votes,
Mhm.
Wakefield gets 2. Wakefield would get 2, for example.
Correct. Brookfield, if it was a dues-paying community, would get 2. But as a non-dues paying, it's just the 1 because we are mandated by federal regulation to include all communities, whether they pay dues or not, into that federal transportation process.
Understand.
So it's for our end, we meet the bare minimum. And you know, the reasoning is we are so heavily reliant on those dues dollars to meet that match for those federal transportation programs and for our economic development programs. And so without those dues, we are relying on other communities to essentially subsidize our work that we do with a non-dues paying community. Or we have to charge, directly charge for things that are discretionary programs.
Okay. You have any questions? Public, do you have any questions? Public? Yeah, Craig.
Yeah, I was curious if there's, I'll give you an example, and then see if there's other examples. About, I'd say 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, you had, it was during the pandemic, you had a large size scanner and printer.
Yes, correct.
Which was available, as I understood it, to only dues-paying
Correct.
communities, so we couldn't use it. Are there other kinds of services like that that we lose out on because we don't pay dues?
Sure. It comes down to being at fee. So we have things where we can do at no charge. So for example, one of the things I was just talking about with your road agent earlier is road surface management systems. That is a process by which staff go out and they inventory your road network, and they have software that they enter the road conditions into, and then it goes through and it has its algorithms where it projects a lifespan, and you can work in it to kind of program or plan for different improvements that are needed over a 10-year lifespan. It's essentially coming up with your road maintenance plan for 10 years. That is something that DOT has said to us, the first time a community wants to do that, you can do it at no cost to the community under your our federal transportation program funds. But for us, again, if a community isn't paying their dues in to leverage those dollars, that's a discretionary program. I'm going to program all of the communities that are dues paying first, and the communities that aren't dues paying, for example, at the time Nottingham was not dues paying when they did it, they paid the cost of it, and we do charge a slight premium on that to recoup some of our costs.
How about production of specialty maps
Yeah.
that we might want?
So that would be something that for a dues paying community, we would likely do for free, so long as it's, if it's something that's like only a few hours to do and print, we do it for free, and it's under your dues. But as a non-dues paying community, we would charge you, again, the time and cost to do that work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what our dues would be?
$996 for the year.
And that year goes from when to when?
It starts July 1st. You'll actually be receiving an invoice later this week or early next week.
Okay. And you sent us, I see a form in the packet, if we want to appoint the commissioners, that's the official way to do it.
Correct,
But
yes.
once we appoint commissioners, they participate on those 3 other
Yes,
organizations you talked about.
It's one meeting, but it's 3 things packaged into one meeting. We try and keep it simple and straightforward. We've been working over the last few years to try and help better communicate what those three roles are.
Good.
I got one question. I'm not sure that I heard you right. I wear hearing aids and they fade in and out. But did you say something to the effect that if you wanted to have that analysis of your roads done, DOT would do the initial one at no cost?
Our staff would do it at no cost for you
If you're due.
if you're dues paying.
Yeah.
If you're not dues paying, we look at the number of miles of roads you have, and then they know approximately how much time it takes to do a mile of road, and the staff will estimate out what the cost would be to do that.
Okay. All right. So my question was that DOT would have done it for nothing, but I heard that wrong.
DOT pays, yes, DOT ultimately they're the ones paying for it on your behalf through our federal transportation contract we have with them.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, very, very informative. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I did bring with me the land use law books that the town had ordered. And I don't know who I should leave those with.
You can take them.
You can take them? All right. Great. I'm happy to, you're our final delivery. This is like 2 visits in one.
Thank you for bringing those.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
your time.
I like your shoes.
Thank you. All right, thanks. Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is meeting minutes. We have some meeting minutes to take a look at.
You want to do each one separately, or do you want to try to do them all?
Maybe we have a couple.
Two.
3. There's 2 public ones.
April 2nd, 16,
We have meeting minutes from April 2nd. Non-public associated with April 2nd. And then April 16th.
I've read through them and I had no comments on them. So I'll make a motion that we accept approved meeting minutes from April 16th, public session, April 2nd, public session, and April 2nd, non-public session as presented. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will sign a copy for you, Leah. Next agenda is the appointment of a new tax collector. As we all know, Diana Peckham resigned effective April 30th. So now the town needs a new tax collector. And I will recuse myself from this discussion. So it's up to you folks to do your deed on that.
All right, I'll make a motion that we appoint Rose, who is acting as the assistant tax collector, to the position of tax collector, assuming, Rose, that you would accept that nomination.
I would.
Okay, so I will make that a motion.
Second.
As vice chair, I'll, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So be it. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And before you step back in, I want to say thank you very much. You've done a great job for us for a long time, and we certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
It's been interesting. Come a long way.
So now we're going to old business, board, department, committee reports. Anything from the treasurer?
Tax collector, maybe.
How about the tax collector? Whatever you, yes, the tax collector. I know you have an agenda.
Yes, so one of the things that I'd like to do is recommend a deputy tax collector. And I'm recommending Diana Peckham, who has agreed to be the deputy.
Okay.
I will make a motion then to appoint
Diana.
Diana
Diana Peckham, thank you, Stephen Bowman, as the deputy tax collector.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Diane.
Welcome back.
Why, thank you. It's a blink of an eye.
The next thing I have is, we've decided to go to a new abstracting service. There is no cost to the town. All the costs that the abstractors provide, the tax collector passes on to the person whose property has been looked at. So from the town budget, there is no impact. However, they would like us to have a contract that they would like us to sign.
And what do the abstractors do for us?
Okay, so when people do not pay their property taxes, we are required to put a lien on the property. When we put that lien on the property, we want to make sure, we want to identify anybody who has a mortgage or other liens on their property, so that those other lien holders know that there is a town lien which has first priority over them. So the abstractors go through the registry of deeds looking for liens on those properties that we have liened. And then we notify the lien holder. So there's the contract.
And they just leave the file for their, because it's not the town's responsibility, so it was just like a lien? Or?
So the town placed a lien on the property for the non-payment of taxes. The information we get back is who else has a lien on that property.
Okay, but how is that funded?
That research for going to the registry of deeds,
Yeah,
that cost is passed on to the person, the
like,
owner of the property.
all right, so like a lien, right? Like,
It's not a lien, it's a fee that we add to their property tax
okay,
owings.
okay,
So that's what makes it neutral.
That's what makes it neutral from the town budget point of view.
all right, good.
Okay. You read this carefully, Rose?
Yeah, I'd say so.
So they're going to charge $18.50 for every parcel, certified mail $10, and
What we propose to contract with them is just to do the lien, the deed research. We will do all the mailings at this office.
So down here you check, do not prepare notices, we'll do that.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Do we have any problem with this?
I don't have any issue at all. You need a motion, I'll make a motion that we accept the terms of the contract.
Let our legal look at it.
We're basically just changing from one abstractor to another.
Oh, that's
In
it.
other words, everything she's described, we're already doing
Right.
with the prior.
So they're providing
Abstractor.
the exact same service as the prior contract?
Awesome.
I suspect we didn't have a contract with
Nancy did not require us to have a contract.
Okay.
that's the change.
It's the same service, this one just.
It's a bigger company. I think Rose feels more comfortable with them.
All right, any motion, we'll do it.
Yeah, I'll make a motion and we accept the terms of the contract.
Newfound title service.
Motion, Newfound Title Services, 2024 service contract.
For title research? Is that what it's called? It's
Uh,
called, I'll tell you what it's called.
What was the term you used?
Basically, they're looking for other people with liens on.
I know, but she had a name for that.
Abstractor.
Abstract.
Abstract?
Okay.
That's
Got a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll slide that.
Okay.
Anything else?
I have one other thing, and I think it's in the packet of bills for today, is my certification class for August. Be my final year. and Karen's final year. And we'll do the same thing, we'll travel down for meeting daily. It's a 5-day class. And we'll just drive down to Concord.
Well,
Okay.
thank both of you for doing that. We certified?
We will be certified. Or certifiable? No.
Thank you. Okay, let's start. You have something, Jan?
Just really quickly on the library, we have hired a new director. Amy Swanson will start next Tuesday. She comes from the Rochester Library. She's great, and so looking forward to that. She will work with Beryl for the next 6 weeks before Beryl retires. The only other thing I'll mention is there's a new art show at the Gaffney, and it features 7 artists, so it's great if anyone wants to check it out.
When does the art show run until?
It might be, don't hold me, I think it's the end of the month, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
And that information should be on their website?
On the website, yeah,
Their website, the Gaffney
their
Library?
website, yes.
Okay. Craig, you have anything?
All the digital images of the town record book have finally made it onto the town server as of last Friday. And when the 2 books that are currently being conserved come back, those digital images will be added on, and then we'll have a complete set. And then we don't have digital images or microfilm of the first 2 record books, but the state library does. So I'm going to, they have microfilm anyways. I'm going to pursue with them or the state archives, which also has microfilm of those 2 volumes, to see if there's a way to have digital images made from the microfilm. It'll be at our expense, I would believe, but I'll find out, number 1, if it's doable, and number 2, what it would cost.
Maybe SRPC can help.
I doubt it.
Oh, okay. And you're still working on providing access to the general public, just because they're on our server?
Right, now that they're on the server, now I can go to the our web company and talk to them about, the idea was to have some kind of a cloud storage of just the PDFs, which is the smallest file of the 3 different files for each book, and then have links to the cloud storage on our website.
Good, good, thank you.
I'll keep you advised.
Chris, you have anything for us?
Yeah, we're just kind of finishing cleaning up from the last winter storm. There's still some brush out there that we're still cleaning up, but I would also say it's not an invitation for people to clean their yards up and pile it on the side of the road either. So.
Are you seeing that happen?
A few times, yeah, but not a massive amount, but some. And but there's still some left to be cleaned up, so we're working on that, mixing in with some regular spring stuff along with that, ditching, grading, that kind of stuff. So staying busy.
Good, thank you. Karen, anything for us?
Yes. With my public hat on, just want to mention the Brookfield Women's Society is going to host a public event in lieu of our regular June 8th meeting. At 10 a.m., the Wright Museum Executive Director will present information about the museum, and she's going to focus on the World War II home front and also other displays and upcoming programs. It's open to men and women, so we're really inviting the public, hoping they'll come. Mr. Peckham may be helping us out with some introductions. So it's fascinating behind those walls of that building. We'd like to share it with our community. Also, Wolfboro Parks and Rec dropped off the new schedules and events and notices, and the new May schedule of events is available. Leah's going to put it online, and the papers are here. They're having a job fair. They have senior lunches. At the end of the month, they're having a senior health and fitness day with free health screenings. So all that information's here on the table for our community to share. And now from the town clerk's perspective, I just wanted to piggyback on what Rose said. We'll be going to the certification program. And as we did before, Valerie at the Wakefield Town Clerk's office will service our DMV customers that week in my absence, and then I'll take care of the electronic registrations too. So I wanted to remind everybody, we do boat registrations in our town clerk's office, and that's open to anyone in New Hampshire. It's a New Hampshire boat agent, so you don't have to be a Brookfield resident to do your boats here. The clerk's office will be closed on Wednesday, May 15th. I'll be closed that 2 hours, but I'll still do the electronic registrations as I can. And the big thing is dog licenses. The dogs should have been licensed by April 30th, and the renewals are now overdue. So if people haven't licensed their dogs for 2024, they have to get in by May 31st or risk a lot of risk fees, civil forfeitures, and penalties. I have 163 people, 163 of the dogs have license. I have 50 from 2023 who have not renewed yet, and there are 29 new dogs that I'm aware of that have not been licensed. So I've been starting to send courtesy letters. When I know there's a new dog, I send a courtesy letter, and I'm sending the final letters to tell people if they haven't renewed, they need to get in a renewal. So we have close to 250 dogs in town. As far as I know, there may be some dogs that are no longer here, but I've been trying to clean it up as I go.
Good, thank you. And we go to the treasurer. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Conservation Commission met last week and voted to fund the Moose Mountain Greenway, $100 annual donation. Obviously, we'll be seeing that coming through soon. Also, there was a request to use the sign that's leaning up against the shed here. Maybe doing a repurposing for the town preserve, either as some kind of a kiosk or something. If it's not being used by the town, then we'd like to grab it for the Conservation Commission.
Yeah. Go for it.
Okay, great, excellent, thank you. And another thing, I guess I'm going to put a plea out here. The bridge that the scouts put in on the walkway to the Hackett site that goes down into the big field, washed out with something like that.
From Caudle Hill Road.
Pardon?
From Caudle Hill Road, right? That bridge?
Yes, from Caudle Hill Road down to the big field in the Hackett site. It washed out, and it needs to be dragged back and put in place. It's probably about a 10 or 15 foot drag, but it's going to take come-alongs and several strong backs. So if anybody is interested, just, I'll plead to the general public here. If interested, contact me, and we'll arrange to make an event out of it and get that bridge back in place. And also, for the Joint Loss Management Committee, we did meet last week. Leah chaired that commission, and there was a near-miss incident that occurred here from a slippery floor in the bathroom. So it prompted us to say we need to put out signs, because if there's something that somebody comes across with a slippery floor condition, then we should put a sign up to mitigate it, to make sure people are aware of it and that that's not going to happen again. And I think Rich brought up a good point earlier that we should take a broader look at any other safety concerns and what signage may or may not be able to do to help us out. So this is just an awareness thing right now. There'll be more on it in the future as we take a look around and see what we need to do.
Do we know why the floor was wet?
Initially, we thought maybe it hadn't dried out from the cleaning, but it wasn't that. We did check with them, and it wasn't that. So we're most likely cause was some overspray of the deodorant used in there. After use, somebody kind of just takes a squirt bottle and you squirt around. Somebody may have really overused the deodorant in there, and that's what it just precipitated down, built up on the floor, and it caused a slippery spot. So. We've spoken about it to the people who are working here. If you go in there and use it, make sure that there's no excess of spray. And we talked about maybe putting up a sign inside the bathroom too, so don't overspray.
Yeah, we're working on wording for that.
Try to mitigate anything we can do. So. And we actually used the process, right? We filled out a form. Leah did her half as selectman, I did my half to say what have we done together collaboratively to make this a safer condition and mitigate any future occurrences. So we want to get into more doing that.
Is there broad participation by the employees?
Not at the last meeting, but we suspect it'll get better as we go forward. You know, and the more you get people involved, the more you demonstrate that there's a purpose for it, the more likely people are to get involved. So.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask if you want to spend some money. Remember we used to have a rug, pretty awful rug at the front foyer of the townhouse?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
We threw it away because it was shot.
Yeah.
If someone goes up to LL Bean in North Conway, you can get some some runners that are pretty inexpensive. That would almost be throwaway. We put something in there to catch some of the dirt and dust that comes in. I think it would be less than $100.
I was just at LL Bean looking at rugs.
They have a whole bunch of them. Yeah, they don't want this month. There might be one next month. They have runners and whatever. They're supposed to catch all the dirt. And they're so inexpensive when they're done, we throw it away. But maybe it would help with some of the dirt coming in. No? Don't.
No, I was looking at them too. I mean, I don't think you'd find one for under $300 out there.
No, we don't want it.
It was pretty
You're
expensive.
better off going to job
I
lots.
was just gonna say, job
If
lot.
you're gonna throw it
Yeah.
away, when it's worn out, go to job
All right,
lots.
so if we see one for a reasonable price to catch the dirt.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. I'll keep my eyes open and see if I can see something in my gravel.
All right, before we walk in, before anybody buys it, text it in case we don't want to. Okay, we have,
I have a few things.
yes, Leah.
So we had John in from IT this past Friday, and he mentioned a few things to me that you guys need to be aware of. The office is out of Microsoft Office Suite licenses, and to be in compliance with Primex, Kristen Whitworth needs one. They are $5 a month for email only and $12 a month for use of the whole suite, and Kristen needs the full suite to do her job. He also suggested building some sort of physical barrier between the hot water tank and pipes and where the server is, so that if any of those pipes burst, the water won't go right up into the server directly. Just have something to block the water. He said maybe a plywood shelf or something, just to think about. He also pointed out that Primex is working on cybersecurity audits in New Hampshire towns. He doesn't know when our number will be up, but he thinks we need a new firewall prior to that to remain in compliance with them.
And that was how much, did he say?
He did not, oh wait. No, he didn't say on that, sorry.
Okay.
And the last thing is, during Diana's party this past Saturday, the office cleaning lady Eleanor told me that our office vacuum roller is bare, so it doesn't really pick up dirt when she vacuums. So I looked up replacement roller brushes for that. They're $14.99 on Amazon for that model vacuum.
Please get that.
Okay. That's it for me.
So the licenses, the reason I put my head down on licenses, we're talking effectively $20 a month for every license, every month. As long as we use it. Yes, Craig?
It came up because I requested a email account for Kristen with the idea of moving her more actively into taking over
the archive position. She's the assistant archivist. And that led to a discussion about her using that computer. When she and I are here working together, I work on my laptop, doing databases, writing narratives for the arrangement and description. She's working on the common computer, doing the same thing. That's where the discussion came up about cybersecurity. That's against cybersecurity stuff. I don't think it's necessary to get a license for her. If we have to, we'll do everything on my computer and then we put it on the flash drive. I carry it over there, put it on there. For 3 or 4 hours a month, we're talking about. She's been extremely busy with her positions in the librarian world and hasn't been able to work with me for quite a few months. The idea is for her to take over completely. She would then have the license that is for the archivist. I think it's crazy.
I believe when we
Let
started,
Homeland Security come after us. Because that's where all the cybersecurity is coming from. Homeland Security.
when we started on this path, the option was we can pay the monthly fee
Right.
and get the upgrades for automatically and free. Or we can, if I'm not mistaken, or we can buy a license for the facility, one-time charge, no upgrades. Maybe it's time to look at that. I mean, our bill just keeps creeping on us, and that's how Microsoft, makes money. It keeps creeping. Maybe it's time to just get the license for the site and buy the upgrades every 3 years.
Exactly.
Would you ask John about that, get new prices on that? And at that point, I think we have as many licenses as we need, because it's a one-time fee.
Do you know how many we have right now?
We have a bunch. I go with bet 12 to 15,
Maybe 14.
14, yeah, in that range.
Yeah.
About 20 a month. Just keeps, we just keep.
Good with that.
We're not using them enough. You use them every day, like in an office. That's one thing, but we use them occasionally.
And I appreciate what Craig is saying too. I mean, he's involved in it day to day, he knows what the usage is, and he's saying that it's not worth it to get the extra license for the usage. So, I mean, it would be a moot point if we do the total package that you're talking about, and then just buy the upgrades periodically as they come out. So.
As it has been, I just copy her. If there's some kind of formal exchange between me and the town clerk, me and the selectmen, me and the MRC, I just copy her on it. So, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's this huge department.
That's right. That's my feeling, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, before I forget, because I didn't put it on here, I knew I forgot something. He did install the extra VPN, so now 2 people can be remoted in at once.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have in front of us, we have some reports of excavation to sign, and we have Stratford Regional Planning Commission. What do we want to do with the Stratford Regional Planning Commission?
Well, because we are non-dues paying, we only have 1 slot open and available to us. And I believe Marshall is in that position at this point, right? Do we need to formalize him for their records? I mean, he's doing the job for us.
We appointed him formally. We didn't fill this form out.
Okay. So if that's the case, then why don't we just fill the form out some of them? Saying he's our guy. And we only get the 1 slot, so even though it says in there, based on our population, there's 2, we lose the second one because we're non-paying.
I'm asking if we want to pay the dues.
I would say no. I don't see the benefit to us. We're so small. And I heard everything that she had to offer, and as she's speaking, I'm thinking in my mind, how does that apply to Brookfield? And I couldn't grab anything, I couldn't go with anything and say, oh yeah, that's gonna make it worth it. I mean, she was interesting in her talk about how they will assess our roads and give us a 10-year plan for road maintenance, but we got 13 miles of roads in town or something like that. It's not a lot.
It's not a tremendous amount. I think the issue with, and I don't care what you do, whether you want to pay the dues or not, it doesn't make any difference to me. I would just say that the issue is, if you want to apply for state funding for any of these things, you have to go through them. So whether that means being a dues paying member or not, they clearly make the case they want that, obviously, to access those funds. I don't know that there's any reason to take those funds, or if it's even a good thing to do, but that would be the only thing I would say is, if you, like with the Red List Bridge, we can't even get on a funding list without their doing it. They have to do it. So.
And I would also add to that, is that if you are part of the program and you are on a funding list, you're going to have a litany of regulations and constraints over those funds that are going to be federally mandated. She kept throwing out the term federally funded programs or mandated stuff, and to me that just, it's good. If you get one project, 50% of it's going to be administrative and bureaucratic, of the funding that's required. So I would say no. I don't see a need to fund it. We'll manage our own and take care of our own business.
Any other input? Ed?
The statute is clear. It basically says that this town is already, must be a member. It is already part of it. It doesn't mean you can't appoint somebody else to be there. You already have one, you could still have two.
That's right.
You're just going to have one voting and one not voting. Or if you don't have paying members, then you're not going to have voting. But it doesn't mean you don't engage, because when I was there and we weren't paying dues, I was engaged. So you could work the 10-year plan, you can get and understand the TIP amendments, and you can bring that information back to the town. And if that happens more often, perhaps you would change your mind and do the paid members. And I believe she gave you a fee schedule for services that you paid directly for.
There wasn't a written schedule in it. She did talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It might be in the annual report.
But there are services that you would have to pay, like she said, directly if you're not a dues paying member. But just because you're not a dues paying member does not mean that you're not engaged in it. Because
I think it does mean if the resources are constrained, you don't participate. And I was thinking of the digitation.
Right, I think the term she used was you were at the end of the train.
Yeah.
She didn't use that term,
But that was
you're
the point.
close.
Everyone that pays the dues gets first dibs.
They get
if there's
first
any-
dibs.
If there's any time left.
Right, but Ed makes a very good point. You can be engaged, you can hear what's going on, you can get ideas from other communities.
And you do have a member appointed.
Right, but you can have two.
you can have two. And the public can attend also. They have many public hearings. They put on a lot of presentations that you can attend to learn about the digitation and stuff like that of stuff. So there's other resources that you can use without paying dues. As she stated, the dues are mainly from matching funds that they pool together to get matching funds from the state and the feds. It's $900. How much is that going to give them for matching funds? That's up to you.
Well, my point is, it's $1,000. And what are we going to get back from it? I mean, the matching funds that they're going to support with our $1,000 are not going to come back to us. They're going to go to help Dover get matching funds. Somebody else get matching funds.
So what kind of feedback do you get from our representative that goes to Stratford County? And how do we know, I mean, Marshall, I think, is relatively new at doing it, but how do we know what we are missing out on so you guys can make an educated decision? You know, if he comes back on a monthly basis or however frequently they meet, and there's something big going on in terms of federal funds, state funds, whatever they're planning, and we're at the back of the line, do you know that? Are you able to pull together that information and say, we're missing out on this, we're missing out on this, we're missing out on this?
I'll take a stab at answering that. I think for the most part, the answer is yes. They are very good at sending out information to the Board of Selectmen and other representatives in every town. So we do see things that are going on because they're making it, public. They're encouraging the local municipalities to participate. So we do see what's going on, I think, for the most part.
Emails, that's what.
Right.
And Marshall gives us a monthly report. He documents the meeting when he goes and shares it with us by email.
Oh, so it's not shared in the public context?
We haven't been doing that. Oh, no, there's two vehicles. SRPC puts out a newsletter that we all see, very, very public.
Yeah.
When Marshall goes, he gives us like meeting minutes, his review of the.
His review, okay.
But I think you're talking about the public SRPC newsletter that comes out.
Yes.
What I also did when I was down there 5 years ago is you can go back to the website and you can actually watch the meetings. I don't know if they're filming them now, but that's another thing I try to do, is I try to get people involved at least, instead of going down there, that if there is something interesting they could know by watching meetings. So, thank you.
Well, I think, where I come out, we haven't participated in 12 years because we don't see, it's not obvious to us what the value is, right? It's $1,000, but what do we get for the $1,000? And in the past, we didn't get very much, if anything. So we said, we're not going to do this anymore. Do you take it on, Brian?
No, I'm like you, and I'm just, it's not us. It's about yeah.
Okay. So I think what we're saying is we're not going to pay the dues. We'll try to appoint another commissioner, because maybe with two going or both people supporting each other, we might get better leverage. And if she gets back to us and says, why don't you want to pay dues, then I'll try to be nice and say, what's the value to the town? I mean, what do we get for our $1,000? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
All right. Do we have any volunteers for another commissioner?
I'm willing to do it if it's something that you, if you want to do it.
I'll make a motion to nominate Chris as the second commissioner to the SRPC.
And we'll see if we can get a payback. If there's a payback and you guys see some value, then I don't have a problem paying dues if there's a return for the investment.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
But just
The key word you're using is value. That's value. Is there value to the town? Then it's worth spending the money. If there's no value to the town, it's not worth spending the money.
that's what I said. All right, so you made a motion?
Yes, I have a motion to nominate Chris to the Stratford Regional Planning, as a Stratford Regional Planning Commission Commissioner. With town of Brookfield.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're going to have Marshall. And there's a form here. Did you do the honors on that form when you get a chance? Okay, we have the, what was, hazard mitigation plan. I emailed that out again. Do we want to accept that plan? It's up to us to accept that plan, sign it, that we embrace that plan?
Yep. You keep turning away, and I'm losing you.
I'm sorry.
What,
We got an audio problem tonight.
yes, we do.
Do we want to embrace the hazard mitigation plan and authorize?
Oh, yes, I read through it. It's a pretty comprehensive plan. Is it perfect? No, but is it something that we need to ascribe to? And I think, yeah, we do need to be a part of that plan.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that we, how do I want to word that we
Embrace, I would say embrace,
That we embrace,
authorize,
adopt, approve.
adopt is the word, adopt is the word.
That the joint hazard mitigation plan between Brookfield and Wakefield.
Got that?
And you got a second? that?
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Leah, in the documentation they sent us is an authorization form. If you would find that, we can sign that when we get a chance.
Okay.
Thank you. We have two notice of intent to excavate. One for the Smith Pit and one for Moose Mountain. So I'll make a motion that we sign these intent to excavate, both of them.
Are those existing permits, are we doing an
Every
annual?
year we do this.
Annual update of the approval?
Yes, and they should be giving us, I don't know, I haven't checked with Nate whether we have the report of excavation. Moose Mountain says they're gonna take out 10,000 cubic yards. And Tucker Road, 4,000 cubic yards of material.
I'll second the motion to approve both comments.
Aye.
I'll second it, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, yes?
10,000?
Yes, that's what it says on there.
Is that a month?
Or a day?
This is the,
There's 10 to 20 16-wheelers going up Moose Mountain most days. They've got to be taking out more than 10,000. Or are they bringing stuff in? I mean, that's crazy. 10,000 cubic yards?
That is next to nothing.
so I have no idea what I guess what's the truck take? Tri-axle takes what?
18 yards.
Keep it simple, 20, so 20 into that number,
500
500
Visits.
500 truckloads
in a year.
in a year.
Oh, can we set up somebody at Hanson Bridge and count them?
When you said, when it lives by Hanson Bridge,
Too busy.
A little thing on the road, you know.
Seriously, I mean, the
500
number of trucks that go up and down Moose Mountain,
to a day.
starting at a little bit before 7 a.m., even though they're not supposed to be on the road before 7. The other day I was up at 5:30, I watched a truck come down loaded at 2 minutes after 7.
So more than three, on average, more than 3 a day, 5 days a week.
There are days when there's no trucks, but there are days when there's tons of trucks.
Only thing we can do is I'll ask Nate to find out if we want to challenge the number.
With timber, whenever there was a question about what was going on, you'd ask the logger, I think this is the way it goes, the logger to bring in the slips from where he delivered the chips or the logs. Maybe the town needs to put into practice some kind of a slip for every truck that goes in there and takes cubic yardage out. I mean, we got screwed on the trees, the tree cut on the 30 acres on Governor's Road. I think you guys need to be a little more aggressive on this kind of stuff. Or assertive is probably a better word,
We can only do what the RSA say we can do.
which is what?
Not much with this stuff. We can call, you're right, for logging, we can call a ranger in if we think there's a big discrepancy. There's not much to do with gravel. We will check the RSAs again, but there's not much to do with gravel. We can challenge the number, it doesn't seem reasonable. I mean, we can go back and say, are you sure this is right? We can just use the rough calculations we just did. 3 trucks a day? We can challenge that. Especially when the Smith pit gives you 4,000 yards. Small pit, once in a while they pull
And
something
they're
out.
hardly there.
That's where I was going. Once in a while they pull something out, right?
Yeah, it's mainly, I believe, it's mainly for their own use. I don't think they sell much of it.
Is that the one behind my house?
Yes.
Right.
There's trucks going in and out of there several times a day.
I think they also dump in there,
Oh, they do.
their own stuff.
Stumps and logs and
I'll
rocks.
try and keep a better track. I mean, I can't do it for every day, but if I know I'm gonna be home, I'll try and keep track. Either that or set up a GoPro and, a little camera. Maybe we could do that on the property across the street, or actually Kinville borders on their entry, and do some counting. I mean, we don't get much for a cubic yard, I understand that, but I find it offensive to hear that that's what they're projecting.
Okay, we'll pursue it. We'll challenge them, see what they have to say.
All right, so we're not going to sign this one, we're just going to sign the 4,000?
Yeah. That's for the Smith pit.
Yes, Ed?
I'm sorry, Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is exactly why I brought up the only regulatory power the town has over the pits are the gravel pit inspections. And this is where it led me to try to understand, which I could be wrong, that since both pits were pre-1979, that the regulation of the pit is very limited. So there isn't much that the selectmen can do unless I'm wrong and they're right. So I don't know, I have not researched to the nth degree, if it's true that that permit, or that there's never been a permit issued because it's pre-1979.
Right.
So we may not have any ability to regulate. He has to report his estimate of what he removes.
Right.
How you accurately do that, I don't know how you do that. Even if you set up a GoPro and you count all the trucks, what are we going to do? Take them to court and say that he's misrepresenting how much he's taken? I mean, there's a lot more to this, mostly because the pits are pre-1979,
So,
if that's the fact.
so the question is, this is what he's estimating he's going to be taking out.
Right.
He should have filed a report of what he took out last year.
Right.
Could be significantly different from this.
But we don't know
I have
whether or not we've seen that.
That's correct. That's document that's of interest because that tells us what he did do. This is his-
Right, and you compare it to what he submitted for the intent in 2023.
But they don't have to be related, But one's a factual, one's a projection.
Right, same thing with the timber.
Right.
I understand that.
So this is the intent. We're thinking we're going to take out 10,000. Maybe he took out 100. Who knows? We'll find out what he reported.
Maybe he's going to retire.
Maybe.
They do have to be within a certain percentage of the amount they put on the intent. If they decide they're going over, they are supposed to revise the intent,
Supplemental.
supplement, yeah.
That's all I have is, the intent needs to be pretty close. I don't know what the percentage,
I
but
don't know.
if you do go over what you filed for an intent, you're supposed to file a supplemental. So if last year they filed for 10 and they reported 20, then technically that's not right either.
Okay.
And I think there's actually a penalty due too, if that's the case, if they don't follow the process. But
Okay. Well, we'll pursue that one. I'll ask Nate, who's our timber gravel auditor, to make some phone calls. And this one we'll sign, the one for Smith. Okay. Any other mail? I don't think there's any other mail for us this evening.
The driveway permit for Garni,
Yes.
what's that? Because tractor was there and
Well, as far as I understand, the code enforcement officer has done it a number of times. Mailboxes, the voicemail box is full. Put a note on the dashboard, call him. He has not received the call. He has tried to get up there and get a driveway permit. What would you like us to do? You have a suggestion? We can pull the building
I
permit.
was gonna say, we pull the permit.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
No, I agree with what he's saying. I mean, if the guy is not complying and playing ball and following regulations, then yeah, I think we should pull the permit. It'll get his attention and make him come talk to us.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we ask Leah? Draft a letter. Tell him he's missing a driveway permit. Got 15 days to get it to us, or we're gonna pull the permit.
I think that's satisfactory.
Okay.
We'll ask him to stop, whatever the right words are, we'll ask him to stop construction.
Cease and desist.
All right?
Wow, that sounds good.
How angry do you want it to sound, is the question.
Friendly but bold.
Make sure you copy Jeff on it too, code enforcement, so he knows what we're doing. You can actually tell him. Anything else? Yes?
Yeah, Chris, the corner of Garni and Clark, the catch basin, it's really, I don't know. It was like, it was compromised and it's really, you know. Now is that a Brookfield or is that a Wakefield problem?
depends on which side of the road, I would say.
Well, Brookfield.
Yeah, I did notice that, and I gotta take a look, and I'll get with Brock on it, because part of the problem is on their side of the road. They got an issue going on there with drainage, and I attempted to fix it during one of the storms to get some of the water to stop, but I am aware of it. I just haven't done anything yet to solve the problem.
Okay, good. Thank you. Awesome.
Okay, we'll do some bills then.
You guys sign the bottom of this one, and then I'll fill all these in. Okay, interware development, software support for the clerk works, which is the town clerk, $1,895. I believe that's annual, Karen? Annual. Karen Savasic for some supplies for the retirement party, $10. Postage for Karen Savasic, $75.85.
That makes that manifest total $1,980.85. I'll make the motion, or do you want to do them both at once, or? Sure. Okay.
Next one. I have Amazon for $170.22. American Security Alarm, $166. Carroll County Registry of Deeds, $28. Spectrum Charter Communications, $94.98. Consolidated Communications, $130.28. Ed Gothier, $58.36. Ed Gothier copier for $56.18.
Tell us what they're for.
I'm sorry. It was he bought lunch for the right to know presentation.
Okay.
And the handrail was $56.18
Okay.
live. Eversource, $147.59 and $15.59. Gov Connection, I have two, $236.74 and $236.74. GovernmentOversite Regional School District, month of May is $173,248. Karen Savasic for mileage to go to FedEx in Milton to drop off something, $16.08. Kate Kimball for donation for Diana's retirement party, $51.98. Kimball Construction, $3,747.50. Leah Gage for 9-volt batteries for the AED machine, $14.99. She's got a bunch, so. Leah Gage for $9.99 for Earth Day banner for conservation.
Back to some conservation.
It came out of the budget for conservation. Leah Gage for soap dispensers for the office and townhouse, $14.99. Leah Gage for packing tape, small notepads, some supplies, $19.77. Mitchell Municipal Group, $144. Mitchell Municipal Group, $48. State of New Hampshire Department of Vital Records, $43. Tax collector annual dues for Diana Ann Rose, $40. Karen Savasic's registration for her NHCTCA certification, $260. Registration fee for Rose for the same, $260. Quarter office machines, $80.45. That's just our contract. Royal Turf and Tick, $125 for the monthly cemetery. It was approved by the Cemetery Association. And Staples, $24.34. Request from Tri-County Community Action for their money that we approved in their allocation, $1,699. And the Wakefield Food Pantry, donation of $2,000.
Total for this manifest, $183,187.77. I'll make a motion, we approve both manifests as presented.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We got plenty of pens, they don't work.
It's just the office right
Oh, is that it? Thank you.
You have to be careful, I got a call from the bank that whoever signed on the last line, it interfered with the account number and it went into the wrong bank account. Just be careful, you don't go into them.
Rich, did you pull the little plastic thing off the tip of that pen? 'Cause that's how you make it work, you know.
You tell, I can't even see the pen, you tell me, is that open?
there.
I couldn't see it from here.
Yeah.
Now it'll work.
Yep.
Oh, yeah? Well, look at that. Will you look at that? Yes. When did I start doing that? That's something new.
Yeah, it's an awful.
It's so that ink doesn't.
Yeah.
That mean you haven't signed anything?
What, how many pens I've thrown away?
That means you haven't signed anything.
It doesn't work. Are you kidding?
Brand new out the
All
box.
right, let's see, anything else? We did that.
We're good?
May sign minutes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll sign our meeting minutes, and we're all set then. We're gonna adjourn, thank you.
7:17.
I could right to it.
Oh, I should remind you that the audit for the tax collector is this Friday. The auditors come to certify that everything is required.